it's Quarterback Monday on the program, and by the next Quarterback Monday, other NFL teams will be allowed to contact Justin Fields. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll check out as well. If I sound a little bit off today, that's not an accident. Got nailed by some kind of bug over the weekend. Began feeling better only really about yesterday afternoon. So, hey, whatever. The Tylenol is the Tylenol. Next Monday, we'll open the NFL's hilariously named non-tampering tampering period, or whatever it is that they actually call it. It's supposed to present some sort of guise that teams don't tamper all the time with free agents or those representing free agents. I don't know how it'll turn out between Omar Khan and Fields. I do know that Khan is on record as of the scouting combine last week in Indianapolis that he'd want to get this done before the open market comes into play. I'd have to presume that means the whole non-tampering thing. And in that event, he'll absolutely want to be stepping on the gas as of, like 5 minutes ago. I am, of course, months past wondering which of the two quarterbacks the Steelers would prefer to keep. I've reported from my sources in management that it's absolutely Fields and that Russell Wilson would only remain in play if, for whatever reason, they weren't able to sign Fields. Well, no thanks to what's behind curtain number 2, I say. We saw what's left of what's behind curtain number 2 over those final few games. I say that respectfully, and I say that fully aware that Russ also was putting up a bunch of points before that. But a lot of what followed sure looked like somebody getting older and slower and worn down through attrition that undoubtedly wouldn't have happened to him just a few years ago. More relevant, Fields is the one they want. So how do you ensure that happens? How do you prevent the player from going onto that open market? I have a feeling that subject's going to come up in a lot of different circles, in a lot of different contexts over the next few days, and it should. It is issue number 1. Actually, it might be issues 1 through 5 if you get right down to it, because the Steelers aren't going to be anything at all in the 2025 season without a competitive quarterback. The obvious way to prevent it is to just grossly overpay. I don't ever think that's a good idea. So I don't think reaching out to Fields or David Mulligetta, his super high-profile agent, and offering a blank check would make a whole lot of sense. The fact is, and I do mean fact, for as much as I happen to think of Fields and his potential, for as much as a good portion of the people inside the Steelers offices think of Fields and his potential, the actual fact is that he still has a lot to prove. Justin himself would tell you that. As such, no, he absolutely should not be commanding top quarterback dollar. The problem with the Steelers having that kind of thinking is that they're not the only ones in on this, and they're not going to be the only ones in on this if Fields goes to the open market. And all it takes is one dummy somewhere to lose their minds and pay Fields as if he is a proven commodity. And when I think of dummies in the NFL, I don't know about you, but my mind turns to not one, but both of the New Jersey teams. But it could be any number of others. So here's what I do if I'm Omar. I approach Fields and Mulligetta in person. Make it seem like a big deal, because it is a big deal. Show the respect. Show that you value Fields more than the head coach maybe did in pulling the plug on him after week 6, because that message also kind of has to be sent. And from there, I share with both of those individuals, face to face, right across a desk, what I have told people internally would be my highest and best offer. They don't have to believe you, of course, but if you're being honest, you'd like to think that can be felt within a shared space. And if they feel that you're either lying or that even if you're not lying, the offer is way lower than what they think they could get from the New Jersey teams, then being honest here, you can kind of live with it, at least in the short term. You can live with it. From there, you give Fields the same line that Kevin Colbert used to give to his pending free agents for years and years when he would set them off. Go head out there, son, see what you can find. And more often than not, they would come back to the Steelers and say, well, hey, so-and-so offered me this for this. What do you got? And Colbert would say, all right, I'll give you that for that, maybe plus another handful of this, and you'll get to be happy by staying with us. And the Steelers would still get their guy. You can do that too. But let's not kid each other. It'd be a whole lot better if it was done beforehand. When we come back, J1Q.
Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454.
Today's J1Q comes from Keller, who says, DK, I know it's quarterback Monday, but I have a question on a different subject. As you preached all throughout the season for a legitimate WR2, and I was agreeing with you 150%. So how does it feel to watch Deebo Samuel go to Washington for a number 5 and DK Metcalf about to be traded to the Packers? I got to tell you, Keller, I am constantly uncomfortable about the wide receiver room. And it is not just WR2. I find myself increasingly uncomfortable with WR1 because of who he is, because of how he's behaved, and most importantly, really, than anything else that would be intangible, how he finished the season. I don't see the Steelers as having one opening in the wide receivers room. I see them as having 2 significant glaring openings and needing to trade George Pickens to help make that happen. Even if that's a straight up wide receiver for wide receiver trade, and yes, of course, I know those are incredibly rare, just throwing it out there, I would take the one of some lesser talent and more reliable performance. I also happen to believe that you can still get yourself one of these in the draft, even though there seem to be very, very few indications of the Steelers' interest in that position. There's some, but not a ton. Certainly not compared to what's emerged regarding defensive line and corner. But to actually answer your question, no, I don't like it. I think a lot of Samuel and what he's done with the 49ers. I know he's not perfect, and I know he's had his own off-the-field nonsense with San Francisco management, but my goodness, he's so much better than anything that's here that I can't even wrap my head around elaborating on that. And Metcalf, this becomes a really deflating conversation in a big hurry. The Steelers need to get a lot better at that position. 1 and 2. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.